Normally, I don't do this kind of thing because I don't think I'm good at doing reviews for things, but I always like to give my thoughts and opinions on specific topics that I'm interested in. Case in point, today's topic right now. Sonic Frontier is a very drastic change to the franchise. A good one, actually, because let's be honest, even though Sonic is like one of the fastest creatures in existence, I feel like he didn't really have much of an aim, unfortunately, or any proper direction, especially within the last few games. I mean, let's be honest, Sonic Forces, if they would have kept that in the oven a little bit longer, it probably would have been decent. However, we're not here to harp on that right now. We're here to talk about the current game that's out right now and everyone's enjoying. I mean, we're past the grace period where we don't have to worry about spoilers. However, if you have not played this game, by all means, you are more than welcome to duck out. But if you're still here, more than likely, A, you don't mind spoilers, or B, you actually have already finished the game. But with that being said, I do have to put a spoiler warning up. But yeah, the story takes place on the mysterious Starfall Islands, four to be exact. Sonic, Amy, and Tails go exploring these islands because for some odd reason the Chaos Emeralds seem to be drawn to this area. Nobody understands why, and nobody has actually tried to explore this place. Well, that's not entirely true. If you are up to date with the prequels and how sometimes Sega likes to make comic books explaining how events of the stories are led up in the game. Sometimes they'll do it via comic books, or in another case, animated shorts like they did with Knuckles, how he gets involved in the island. I suggest you go look at that animation. The comic book, on the other hand, I did not read, so I'm just going off of what I've seen in the game. Okay? Okay. Eggman actually got to the Starfall Islands first, and he was trying to uncover all of its secret technology as well as the data that it has, because the island also serves as not just the home for the ancients, but also as a giant storage drive, because you come to find out more when you get into the game that the island itself had like a datascape, almost like a giant external hard drive, if you will, because it saves everything, their history, their culture. Even the Coco, the little creatures that you walk around and save, they are actually what's left of those people, which you come to find out are basically people like Chaos, the water creature from Sonic Adventure 1. I think that's another beautiful thing that I like about Sonic Frontiers with the storytelling. It does callbacks to past events. It actually talks about the continuity. It even like brings up mishaps within the characters or how they've gone one direction, how Tails goes from being the kid that is always there for Sonic and is ready for everything to being inconsistently scared and almost to the point where he is like a parody of himself. And they talk about that because even Tails is like, I feel like I use you as a crutch all the time, Sonic, and I don't feel like I'm brave enough. And Sonic has to reassure him, dude, you've saved me multiple times as well as the world. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be here. And I love that. I love how we actually talk about past events that actually matter, even if some people don't think that. But that's not entirely why I'm talking about this. The reason why they're here is, like I said, the Chaos Emeralds have been pulled to this island. Nobody knows exactly why. And Eggman is there to try to study it. But something happens and he wakes up something horrifying to the point where it causes a dimensional rift. The AI that he was using traps him inside because she wants to keep him safe. She is the new AI assistant that goes by the name of Sage, basically Eggman's daughter. She plays a very pivotal role to the story. Sonic, on the other hand, when him and his friends get there, they get thrown into the digital rift themselves too. Except, of course, because Sonic is protagonist Coon, he finds a way to break out on his own accord, and is given the task destroy all four Titans and break the digital boundary that keeps reality in check on this world. So, Sonic has that, and how they explore the islands is pretty open, actually, because you have the portals that take you to the cyber dimension or cyberspace, which are the 2D or basically the running levels that you're going to be doing from time to time to get gate keys. The reason why you need keys is so you can unlock the vaults that have the chaos emeralds stored there. It's a really interesting premise, honestly, because this island was built to keep the emeralds in check, or at least keep them locked down. Because another spoiler, like I said, we come to find out that this ancient race, they're actually the people who had the Chaos Emeralds before us. They used them as power sources, and when they were running away from the actual true enemy of the game, they came to Earth, almost like it was drawn to the Earth. Maybe it's because the Master Emerald was actually here beforehand, and they have the same energies, possibly. Which begs the question, how did the Master Emerald get here? Well, that's never actually brought up, so let's just go ahead and brush past that part. Sonic and his friends, like I said, they're trapped here. The only person that can actually move freely, of course, is Sonic. Because of that, he has to go back and forth within the realms. He actually does get to save his friends by using these little memory cores, depending on what character that he's interacting with. The first island is with Amy. You see the little tokens look like actual hearts. You talk to her, you break her free, but then you notice every time Sonic breaks a cage and is holding his friends in each of these islands or interacts with more of the not the concept, but the more of the island itself, Sonic is starting to deteriorate, almost like he's being corrupted by the data or reality breaking around him, if you will. At least that's how I interpret it, because you can actually see in the gameplay, the more Sonic goes, the more his stance actually looks like he's just tired, which is something you rarely see because the man has stamina for days. But the more you progress into the story, you can physically see that he is not okay. He's holding his arm, he's panting, he's basically sluggish. Even if he is moving at the fast speed that he normally is, you can tell my boy is not okay. He's hurting, but he still goes and presses forward because he's not fighting for himself. He's not fighting just to get home. He's fighting to bring his friends back from the brink, because the way they're stuck is almost like an ethereal in between dimensions. Basically, they're data, unfortunately. They don't need to eat, they don't need to sleep, but it feels like they're Schrodinger's cat, dead or alive, the way it looks. And Sonic, of course, being the hero that he is, he has to save his friends. Sage, she thinks Sonic is actually causing a lot of the problems, and if he keeps meddling, it's going to bring what's in there out. And unfortunately, he does, because, spoiler warning, Sonic is actually being used to save his friends, and Sage put everyone there to try to keep what's in there out, basically, or basically just protect everyone from that thing itself. It's an interesting idea, and I love how they talk about it. I mean, it's very predictable in certain spots, but that's not that big a deal. Predictability is never a bad thing sometimes, unless you're overusing it, but that's neither here nor there. But the thing that I love about this is the combat and the controls within Sonic. Sonic moves very smoothly when he wants to. I did notice that if you're running around for a long period of time, Sonic will just, like, if you're not paying attention, just take off in the air somehow. Like, if you hit a slope, he'll actually go up in the air. You're sitting there trying to aim yourself, but if you have one of the skills from the skill tree, yes, there's a skill tree, by the way, I forgot to mention that, because I haven't got to the combat yet. There's a thing on there to let Sonic basically freestyle while he's in the air after he comes off of a ramp that allows him to gain extra experience points. But that's neither here nor there. I've heard a lot of people like talk about that too, so we're not going to dive too much into that. But yeah, Sonic, the way the world is, you have the open world islands where you can explore, get tokens, do missions to help your friends, as well as finding the Chaos Emeralds. Your number one priority is to find the Chaos Emeralds so you can get out of the island. Because unfortunately, Sage, since she thinks that you're a threat, she actually awakens the 4 Titans. Well, we only know about 3 at the time, but she awakens all the Titans just to get rid of Sonic. And the first one is, from what my friend Dove tells me, is an Evangelion reference. And now that I know that, I can't unsee it. But yeah, it is really interesting because how they break it up, you have, like I said, the free roam where you're trying to find the Chaos Emeralds, and you're also fighting the Guardians there, just like little robots. And each of them gives their own little challenge, and fighting them is actually really unique. Then, of course, you have the cyberspace levels where you go in and you try to earn keys so you can unlock the vaults that have the Chaos Emeralds in them. We all love these. Like I said, when I was playing Sonic Adventure 2, I made a reference to it saying how each one of these cyberspace levels are actually rehashed versions of past levels from past games. Case in point, one of them actually is just Skyrail from Sonic Adventure 2, but with Green Hill Zone's paint. And I didn't have a problem with it because it breaks up all the island running from time to time, so you can explore or just do these, because they're actually, like I said, if you get to a certain point where you have enough keys, you really don't even have to unlock the portals to actually go into cyberspace. But they are fun and they're worth it because they give you another challenge. Heck, every level has like own objectives inside them as well too. You have beat the level within a specific time, so that way you can get an S rank, or beat the level and get all the rings, beat the level while getting all the red rings, or just beat the level period. All 4 of them are there, and you can do them all if you want to, or you can just have fun within the cyberspace levels, because that's what they are. They're actually fun, except for the ones that are just predominantly grind railing, but it's neither here nor there. But yeah, then there's of course the one level that I did not expect I would be coming back to. It would be the watering holes, or the the little, I was about to say swimming, damn. The watering holes for where you can find Big the Cat. I'm not a fan of Big the Cat, and as a lot of my friends are aware of, I tend to get annoyed with him. But that's my own personal thing, no big deal. But here is where you can actually break the game if you actually pay attention. There's collectibles all around Starfall Islands that let you do what you need to. There's, of course, your rings. There's the Coco that help you with your leveling up when you talk to specific giant Coco, like the leaders or the hermits. They unlock all your skills that help you leveling up, like your combat, your ring capacity, your speed, as well as your defense, because this game is actually going to be combat heavy, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. But if you go to one of the levels where you're talking to Big, he'll let you borrow one of his fishing rods, and with that you actually get to do a little fishing. But in order to do that, you have to have one of those other collectibles I was about to mention earlier, which are these purple tokens that allow you to fish. He'll, like, depending on which fishing hole you go to, he'll ask for a certain amount. And if you get enough fish, because he shows you how to fish and everything too, you actually get the ability to unlock so many things, like fast travel, or talking to like locations for where you can actually find the leaders or the hermits of the Coco, or even just shop. I mean, you can actually buy the seeds that you need to unlock your combat prowess, like your attack and your defense. Or if you just want to, you can just buy keys there. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not bad, but I still want to have fun and walk around cyberspace levels from time to time. But if you feel like you're in a hurry and just want to get the story over with and you have enough tokens, you can just fish and fish and fish and unlock points that you can use to buy stuff from Big that he really doesn't mind. Heck, there's even features in there that actually make you have to buy stuff, like for lore purposes. Case in point, Eggman has digital logs that you can get from Big that he's found. And like I said, it goes back where Eggman's talking about past events or even stuff on the Starfall Islands that he's experienced while he was trapped in cyberspace. It's really interesting. But of course, the actual fighting of the machines once you're out in the overworld, because of course you have your regular pawns, but then we have the Guardians that I mentioned earlier. Not the Titans, the Guardians. Sonic's combat is normally you just do a homing attack and that's it. However, this time around, these bots don't go down because a lot of them have life bars that are actually pretty tough to deal with, or specific things you have to do to fight said bosses, or, well, sub bosses anyway. Case in point, the very first Guardian that you find on the first Starfall Island is the Ninja. They're pretty quick, they're agile, but they're not that difficult. Then the more you explore, the more you find like more different like Guardians running around there, like the squid that you have to jump on its back and literally chase after it while it's flying through the air. Or in the desert, you have this giant tower like robot they call the Ashra, where you have to grind on specific rails to actually open up its defenses. Then there's the spider, where you have to free fall because it throws you up in the air. There's so many different possibilities of how you fight these things. There's always something interesting. The only one that I didn't like was where you're on the final island, you had to fight these 4 or 5 weird like dog like robots, and the only thing you can do while they're circling around you is parry. Parrying is really not that difficult because all you have to do is just hold 2 buttons. There's no timing in it. You just hold them and then the creature will automatically get knocked back if you do it well. And that's also part of, like I said, the combat. This time around, Sonic actually has special moves that allow him to do unique abilities. Case in point, the Sonic Boom, where he literally generates enough energy he can shoot it like shockwaves. The Side Loop is one of the most important abilities that you get that allows you to run rings around your opponent or run rings around the puzzles that you have out in the upper world. So you'll need that, as well as the other combat moves that you'll get throughout the game too. Some of them are interesting, but they made it simplistic so that way it doesn't go too ham. However, the combat system is still pretty broken, especially if you're like going off on the enemies, and I really don't mind that. I love fighting some of these guys and they're interesting. I feel like they actually put a lot of time into this, even though some people, when they first showed off the combat and the parkour skills, they're like, oh, this needs to be in the oven a little bit longer. I thought it looked a little jank at first too, but then after playing it, I'm glad we got it. Sure, it's a little from time to time because of the animations, but it's still a fun game and I still love it. But now we get to the actual Titans. As you can see right here, I'm fighting Supreme, which is the final Titan before the final boss. It plays a lot like Giganto, except it has a gun and other projectiles. It's really interesting because of the things that these bosses make you do in order like to fight them. It's like they have set rules or have set like guides that you have to do, and I found them interesting. Each one of them was like really fun to go toe to toe with, and Sonic actually going off and squaring up with these things at Super Sonic, because he can't fight them normally. I mean, if he tries to, he literally gets housed. He gets trucked. The very first time he tries to fight Giganto, he literally gets thrown into a mountain. But yeah, what else? I'm not going to show the final boss because I really didn't like it. I'm not a fan of bullet hells anyway, so that's... yeah. All in all, is this game worth it? In my personal opinion, yes, it really is. Because, like I said, the continuity that they actually talk about, the actual controls, the ability to free roam and run around the entire island, as well as just goofing off. It is the most mature or the most free version of Sonic I think we've seen in a while, because we're always stuck on a linear path. Don't get me wrong, the game is linear because of the storytelling. However, how you get to it or which chaos room you go to, that's kind of your choice to get them depending on the events of the story. But other than that, I thoroughly enjoyed my time with it. And from what I've been told, this is going to be like the foundation for the next few years for Sonic. And I can't wait. Plus, they've already announced that there's going to be a roadmap for all the DLC free updates that they're going to be added to the game. So, Sonic Frontiers is going to be it's going to be one of those games that's just going to be around for a little bit. But yeah, that's my thoughts. What is my final verdict? Well, honestly, I say you should give it a shot. Try it for yourself. I mean, there's a demo. I think last I checked, my friend Delilah told me about it. But yeah, I know it went on sale a little bit ago. It went from 59 to 39 or 29. I forgot, but by the time we're talking about this, it's probably not on sale anymore. But I really do hope you get a chance to play this game. And with that being said, if you like what you see, please like, comment, subscribe. I'd love to hear your feedback. Also, if you ever want any updates on what I plan on doing next, click down in the links below to my Discord, where you always get updated on every week's coming attractions. And with that being said, you guys have a good one. Cheers!